Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Jeanette Southwood. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Affairs and Strategic Partnerships at Engineers Canada. My pronouns are she, her, elle. I welcome you to today's webinar. And I'd like to begin by telling you a little bit about Engineers Canada. Engineers Canada is the national association of the provincial and territorial engineering regulators who license the more than 300,000 members of the engineering profession in Canada. Our offices are located on the traditional and unceded lands of the Omami, Winniniwag, and Shinabeg peoples. At Engineers Canada, we always like to include something a little bit personal about ourselves when we are speaking about the land acknowledgement. And I myself am a settler on the lands. I'm an immigrant from South Africa. And in South Africa, we've always also had the challenges of land and the challenges of being settlers versus being Indigenous. So I'd like to welcome everyone here today to our webinar. So I'm an engineer myself, and Engineers Canada's purpose is to serve the collective interests of the regulators and to promote and maintain the interests, honor, and integrity of the Canadian engineering profession. We advance Canadian engineering through national collaboration. It's through our work with our regulators and the engineering community that we recognize that there was a need to provide support and guidance to those embarking on their licensure journey. It is with this goal in mind that we created and launched Pathway to Engineering, a platform to connect engineering students, graduates, and early career professionals to acknowledge and to share knowledge about the licensure process and to create a community of professionals who can support them on their journey. I'm very happy to see you all here today to participate in the October session of our quarterly webinar series, Exchanges, where we will host conversations about the pathway to engineering licensure. Exchanges will address topics related to licensure, employment, and the engineering community as a whole. Please remember to sign on to our newsletter or to connect on social media to see and register for future webinars. As students who are nearing graduation or who have just graduated recently, you are likely now thinking about the future and how you will take the next steps on your journey to becoming a licensed engineer. Our provincial and territorial engineering regulators are responsible for ensuring engineering is practiced only by those licensed and qualified to do so. And many run programs to support post-secondary students and engineers in training. Today's webinar, Prepare for the Career Ahead, Regulator Programs to Help Graduates Gain Licensure, features speakers who work for our engineering regulators in Alberta and in New Brunswick. Today, they'll discuss the Work Readiness Program offered by our Alberta regulator and Connections offered by our New Brunswick regulator. We also have two speakers here who have participated in these programs and who can offer firsthand know-how on how these programs provided them with experience and career advantages to give them an edge as they entered the workforce. Today's moderator is Christine Nguyen, the National Councillor of the Canadian Federation of Engineering Students. Our panelists are Mohamed El Daly, a professional engineer and Director of Outreach and Product Services at our Alberta regulator, Zaafir Olagunju, a fifth-year mechanical engineering student from the University of Alberta, participating in our Alberta regulator's Work Readiness Program, Lauren Nicholson, Director of Communications at our New Brunswick regulator, and Cam Drost, a chemical engineering student from the University of New Brunswick, who is also the president of the University of New Brunswick's Engineering Undergraduate Society. I would like to welcome Christine, Mohamed, Zaafir, Lauren, and Camilla. I'd also like to welcome our audience today. Like you, Pathway to Engineering is at the start of its own journey. We're looking forward to growing the network and helping to connect graduates with the people and the knowledge to become engineers. Enjoy the webinar, and over to you, Christine.
Thanks, Jeanette. I'd like to start off with getting Lauren and Mohamed to introduce their overview of the Work Readiness Program, so APEGA and APEGNB. So off to you all.
Thank you, Christine, and welcome everyone. So APEGA is the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Alberta. And at APEGA, we offered a Work Readiness Program. We call it the WRP. And it's a program open to all students and members in training, MITs, to participate in throughout their university years and once they graduate, in order to prepare them for the workforce and for getting ready to join the ranks of APEGA professionals. Overall, we look at the competencies that APEGA evaluate as you apply to become a registered professional engineer. And we turn these competencies into components that you can go through. These components are components that allows you to acquire the knowledge and practice this skill and competency in order to get better at. And we take into account where you are in your journey, whether it's your early years or senior years, or you just graduated, to make sure that ultimately, by the time you graduate and by the time you're ready to put in your application, you have not only knew about these competencies, but you can demonstrate competency in them and prepare to join the workforce fully competent and hit the road running. So this is at a very high level, our program. It's asynchronous, so you can do it at your own pace, your own time. So at times where you're busy with exams or life happens, it doesn't require you specifically to do certain assignments or certain tasks at a certain period of time. You map it out, but in total, maybe you're dedicating 2 or 3 hours towards it every week, and it will pay off once you graduate and have you ready. So that's at a very high level our program, and you can find more information on our website. Over to you, Christine.
For sure. And then we'd also love to hear from APEGNB as well. So Lauren, you can speak.
Thanks, Christine. So I'm coming to you from New Brunswick, and in New Brunswick we have the Connections program, and so that was first introduced in 2023, so it's still relatively new, now in its second year. It's designed to bridge the gap between members in training, students, and seasoned professionals across all engineering and, for us, geoscience disciplines. We manage and facilitate the program using a platform called Mentorship Rocket, which features a mentor gallery right on the homepage. The gallery shows mentor profiles, and mentees can choose their mentor based on specific competencies and interests, and it really ensures a personalized match. The program adapts to the unique needs of participants by offering flexibility in how and when they engage through one-on-one virtual meetings. Mentees can book up to 3 one-hour sessions with mentors by selecting session dates directly from the profile, and then reaching out to them to make that connection. Each version of our Connections program runs for 12 months, typically beginning in October of each year. And after the 12 months, it resets and begins again. Participation in this free program is offered as a benefit of membership with our association for active and prospective members in training. And new for this year, it includes eligible engineering and geoscience students enrolled in New Brunswick universities. That said, it's important to emphasize that this program is about making connections and sharing knowledge. It's not a platform for a job solicitation or an interview or asking mentors to sign off on work. It's really about fostering genuine professional relationships that can benefit career growth for our participants.
That sounds great. We did have a question of what specific support and resources do these programs offer for students and EITs, so engineers in training, and how do these resources help them and prepare them for licensure? I'll have Mohamed take the first answer.
So we have a couple of components that we offer participants in the program. The first, like Lauren's program, it's mentoring, and specifically to support members in training as they prepare their application. Mentors can guide applicants in terms of how to think about these competencies, how to demonstrate and link the work that they've done to these competencies. In many cases, we see that people are quite competent. They have the expertise. It's just a matter of how can you communicate and put on paper in a limited space your work experience to demonstrate a competency so that the board of examiners or those assessing your application can truly assess it and see the experience that you bring forward and get you to go through it. So there is a mentoring component that we offer participants. Primarily, it serves members in training in their application. Students can still sign up, and then it will be mentoring to guide them through the program to help answer their questions they may have about their career. But like Lauren's program as well, it's not to help them necessarily get a job or any of this stuff. It's think of it as a coach on the sideline. You're the one on the field running the show. The other piece that we provide is office hours. So participants can book 15 to 30-minute time blocks with our outreach coordinators, university outreach coordinators, to ask any specific questions about the program or to navigate any challenges they may have, or to ask for specific guidance in terms of working with their mentor. We found that these office hours gets booked fairly quickly and helps address a lot of questions that students may have about the program. Over to you.
Yeah, that's great. And then we'd love to hear from Lauren as well.
Yeah, so our Connections program offers students and engineers in training access to experienced professional mentors who provide guidance on the career development. The way that our program is built allows mentees to connect with mentors who can address the specific challenges that they're facing. It's a separate website from our main association website, and profiles there are sorted by discipline and expertise. So it allows mentees to really filter down and figure out exactly to determine, what specific challenges they may have, and they can connect with someone who may be within the same discipline, or someone that has, is high level in that competency that they need some assistance with. This year, on the competency side, we've introduced the competency category to align with the competency-based assessment CBA system. And so with that, mentors are able to offer valuable advice and guidance and real-world examples to help support mentees in creating those experience pieces within their application.
That's amazing. So now that we've heard from the programs themselves, we'd like to bring our students into the spotlight, Cam and Zaafir, and see what their journey was like. So for the two of you, starting with Cam, how did you get into the program? And can you tell us a bit about your journey?
Sure. So I'm a final year engineering student at the University of New Brunswick, but I'm also the president currently of the Engineering Undergraduate Society. And so in my role with the society, I've worked with APEGNB for the past couple of years, and we've been in discussions for a while on how to continue improving engagement with students and with EITs once students graduate and get into the training stages. And a big part of those discussions was how can we provide more support to some of those students. And so when APEGNB came up with their first pilot of the Connections program, it was originally reserved for MITs, for the members in training. And I asked them if it would be possible to pilot it with students as well. And so throughout the summer, we piloted the project. And this was both for student benefit and then also for my own benefit as like a prospective graduate this upcoming year. So I thought that it would be a good idea for us to expand this further, especially because of how important it is for students to get licensed post-grad. So we've been working on the program together, and I'm really, really excited to see students and MITs get involved with it this coming year. But I'll pass it off to Zaafir to talk about his experience.
Thanks, Cam. I'm Zaafir. I'm a senior mechanical engineering co-op student at the University of Alberta, 5th year now, so my final year. I entered the APEGA Work Readiness Program to bridge the gap between my academic experience in mechanical engineering and professional practice. Engineering licensure is crucial for ensuring public safety and professional accountability. So it represents a commitment to upholding the highest standards of engineering practice. Hence my decision to pursue licensure in Alberta. My journey so far has been about honing my technical and communication skills, particularly through my co-op roles at EPCOR, because I was a co-op at EPCOR when I joined the APEGA Work Readiness Program.
All right, and then I know that Lauren mentioned challenges that students may have faced that these programs can help you out with. So what are your personal challenges that you encountered, and how did this program help you overcome them? We'll start with Zaafir.
One of the main challenges I faced before joining the APEGA Work Readiness Program was bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge from my engineering classes and practical real-world applications of these problems or theory. The transition from academia to industry can be daunting, especially in terms of understanding the expectations, responsibilities, and workplace dynamics. The APEGA Work Readiness Program provided a clear framework to address these concerns. It offers guidance on workplace cultural norms, communication skills, and professional conduct. It also offered mentorship for me that helped me understand the process of preparing my engineering career in a structured way. I would like to refer to this structured way as a work readiness roadmap. And this work readiness roadmap essentially makes the transition from academia to industry smoother and less intimidating.
All right, and then we'd love to hear from Cam as well.
Yeah, so I think a big challenge that a lot of like late year engineering students and then new grads and EITs struggle with is figuring out how to get licensed. It can be a pretty daunting process with the 4 years, and then also making sure you're meeting your competencies. So personally, I was kind of unsure about the process, and using the program, talking with mentors, and like engaging in that way has helped me understand like the broader scope of getting licensed as an engineer, the purpose, and how to go about it. So that's been really, really helpful for me. Additionally, like some of the other things that have come up personally are the decisions on what to do post grad. And so the mentors have been really wonderful in supporting like the decision process, not really being biased one way or another, but really giving you the full facts on what their careers have looked like and how they've been able to use their skills and things that they maybe wish they would have done or they're really happy that they'd done. So overall, it's been really, really supportive in guiding me through the grad year transition into the next steps.
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot of support and help here. So in terms of that, I'd like to bring the stage or the mic back to Lauren and Mohamed to hear about how they gather feedback from students like Cam and Zaafir, and how this has led to improvements or changes in the program. We can start with Lauren for this one.
Thanks. So we gather feedback from participants in the Connections program through surveys and direct communications at both the mid and end points of the program cycle. We ask that both mentors and mentees share their experience, so what worked well, and areas for improvement. So as an example, in our effort to enhance inclusivity, we've expanded the eligibility of mentees to include, as Cam alluded to, engineering students enrolled in New Brunswick accredited engineering programs. Right now, it's reserved just for those who are in sort of their 4th year and above, including graduate students. And because our association regulates geoscience as well, it's also applicable to earth science programs in New Brunswick as well. We've also received valuable input regarding the diversity of our mentor pool. After the pilot year, participants expressed a desire for more mentors with backgrounds in areas such as entrepreneurship or computer engineering, and in the environmental fields. And in response to that, we're actively working to recruit mentors from those areas. And Additionally, I had mentioned before, but we've added a competencies category as well to reflect our shift from our former logbook program to the competency-based assessment system. We've found that more members in training and applicants are asking for guidance on how to describe their work experience in these areas. And while mentors that are part of this program may not have necessarily gone through the competency-based assessment themselves, as it's still relatively new, but they are well-versed in these competencies as professionals and can provide valuable advice and examples, and most use those competencies in their professional capacities daily.
And then we'd love to hear from Mohamed as well.
We have different ways to collect feedback. The first and foremost is surveys that we send periodically to participants to provide feedback on the program itself, the structure, any things that they're liking, anything that needs to be modified and changed. So that's one component of it, and I'll talk about the feedback that we received. The other piece is every time participants complete a task or some of the requirements of the program, whether it's a knowledge piece or a skills piece, there is a self-assessment feedback form that they fill, and it allows them to self-reflect on what they've learned, how could they improve, what are the next steps. We receive these as well, and in it provides a lot of meaningful and valuable information to us. A couple of feedback that we received that helped shape and improve the program is first a component on the length of the mentoring relationship. In the past, we used to have the mentoring relationship for an extended period of time, so a few months, 6 months, give or take, but we realized that it's very active earlier, and then it kind of fades out as participants kind of find or get what they need. So we now shortened it to a small segments, 30 minutes or an hour. They're welcome to connect again and meet for additional meetings, but at least bare minimum, it's like 1 or 2 meetings in the beginning where they can just be very specific on what they're looking for. This allows also students and participants to connect and meet with more than one mentor. So they can meet one mentor to work on one competency on one area gap, and then meet someone else, and so on and so forth. The other piece, as I mentioned earlier, the program is asynchronous, meaning you can take it at your own pace, at your own time, and you can design it the way you want. We're providing the framework. Some students requested a little bit more structure. So they said, give me a checklist. I need to complete this checklist to complete the program. So this got us to work on a parallel kind of structure program. If you want it asynchronous and you're creative and you know how to design your own path based on the framework we provide you, you can go this way and we'll guide you. If you want a little bit more structure, here it is. And even within the structure, we're providing multiple options and then letting them decide which ones they want to pick and choose from. So in the end, we are mindful that they are students or they're working as members in training, and they have other priorities and commitments. So we want to make sure and be mindful of their time commitment. So these are all different components that we leverage to improve the program as we go forward.
Amazing. So we see that, the programs are getting refined here and there wherever they can improve. So through this, I want to hear if Cam and Zaafir have had any impacts in their journey through these programs, and how did it inform your professional goals and career expectations?
So I guess on my side of things, I've always wanted to become a licensed engineer. That was something that was very important for me when I started engineering, but it's further reinforced that, especially speaking with other like professional engineers that are women in engineering as well. It's also helped me with the career exploration side. I've talked to 3 different mentors in the past couple of months, and they're all in different industries, all doing very, very different work. So it's helped me to see kind of like the broad scope of the options available post-grad, and also options beyond going straight into industry, such as pursuing further education or taking extra courses and getting licensed in other areas as well. So it's helped to encourage me and reinforce that decision to become licensed post-grad. And it's also helped me have more of the tools to encourage others also to pursue being licensed.
I would say the APEGA Work Readiness Program has had a significant impact on my career development. It's helped me clarify the pathway toward licensure by illuminating APEGA's engineering licensing requirements. And it's also helped by highlighting the importance of public safety and professional accountability. Across the program's competencies, I had the opportunity to engage with industry professionals, and this gave me insight into various career paths in engineering. This exposure that I got from these professionals helped shape my professional aspirations. It's given me a broader understanding of the sectors in engineering, and it's helped me decide it's helped me decide about the engineering sectors that I am most passionate about. For me, those sectors would be project management and asset optimization and asset management. And the APEGA Work Readiness Program is what has helped me bring that to light.
All right. We just have this other question in the Slido. So it says, I'm in NS in Nova Scotia. Is there any similar program offered there?
So I know a little bit just about this. Engineers Nova Scotia has their own specific targeted student program, and then they also have like their EIT MIT program. So I would suggest that whoever was asking this question go and look at their specific program. I don't believe they have the same mentorship structure. It is very different structure, but they do have an existing support program for final year or later year students, and then also for new grads.
All right, and on that topic, if you do have any questions, anyone in the audience, feel free to put it into the Slido link. It's just recently been sent into the chat as well, so you can put in a room number and ask us questions there, and we will be answering them pretty live. But our next question on the list is, what were the most important lessons or skills that you learned from the program? We'll start with Zaafir.
Sweet. For me, one of the most valuable skills I learned from the APEGA Work Readiness Program is the ability to communicate effectively in a professional setting. In the APEGA Work Readiness Program, the focus on soft skills like teamwork, communication, and leadership was just as important as the technical knowledge that I obtained from classes in school. Additionally, I learned the importance of professional ethics and professional accountability, and these are values that are foundational to engineering in Canada.
I think one really important lesson that I've learned is that the opportunities are endless when you're graduating. I think a lot of students or new grads, they may feel like they have to pick something and run with that, but there are a lot of people who have switched and changed their mind on things and tried out different areas of engineering, and they've pursued different areas in their career, and it's been really beneficial for them. Beyond that as well, I think for skills, it's been really important for me to have those one-on-one conversations with professional engineers as a networking thing, but also just as a practice. I think it can be very daunting as a young engineer in training or as a young engineering student to get the confidence to talk with some of the more senior engineers, but you can learn so much from them. So it's been really helpful for me to gain some more of that confidence in communicating with them. And beyond that, they have given some really, really good insights, all in different areas, whether that be on safety. I was able to speak with somebody from the Mi'kmaq Council and learn a little bit about the approach to incorporating Indigenous cultures in your work as an engineer. And I think there's a lot of things that I've learned that I didn't even know I didn't know. So it's been really, really helpful in that way.
Yeah, so it's great hearing so many new experiences and skills that you two are gaining. So back to Lauren and Mohamed, how do you see these roles changing in the next, or these programs changing in the next few years? And do you think there's any upcoming changes or developments that we should be aware of? I'll pass it on to Mohamed.
So as I mentioned earlier, we're working on providing more more structure to the program. By structure, I mean giving specific steps. These will continue to evolve as the needs, as the change in society, as the emerging technologies that show up, because ultimately what we're looking for is to help students build their competencies. And the competency is reflective of what the industry or the market is looking for. So as these requirements changes, we'll change this component. The other piece is APEGA is working on changing its Canadian 1 year of Canadian requirement for licensure and reflecting them into the competencies. So as this component or piece changes, it will be reflected in the program. And to clarify to everyone on the call, when you apply, you require 4 years of experience, one of which is within Canada. And the intent of this year of experience is to demonstrate that you have competency working in a Canadian environment. You have competency working with codes and practice standards that are Canadian. So if you worked elsewhere, you might not be aware of the differences. You want to demonstrate this piece. And thirdly, and most importantly, the harsh weather conditions. If you've worked somewhere tropical or mild weather conditions, it's quite different when you work here on projects when the temperature is -30 or -40. So this was the intent of the 1 year of Canadian experience, but it still does not really demonstrate. Just because you worked for 1 year, maybe you were not assigned on projects that can help you acquire these competencies, and that's why they're turning them into competencies. So this is a piece that will come soon. And third and lastly, we're working closely to collaborate with post-secondary institutions, U of A and U of C, so that the program is extended through the faculties as well. And this way it helps students and they do not feel that there are separate programs or requirements at the post-secondary institutions versus the regulatory body. If we can all be aligned, I think this would be beneficial to everyone, and most importantly, the students who are here to serve. So that's for us.
Yeah, and so for us, where our program is still relatively new, as I'd mentioned, but we've seen some great successes so far. As Cam alluded to, we've been able to kind of hear those success stories directly from the participants. So that's been really helpful in learning how to grow and adapt this program. Moving forward, I'd love to see an increased awareness among eligible participants, so mentees, in particular, expanding the program offering to students maybe earlier in their educational journeys. And I kind of alluded to it before, but we are also focused on enhancing diversity within the program. So in the terms of increasing participation of females and other underrepresented groups in both the mentor and mentee roles. And also along the same lines as that, expanding our mentor network to include a wider range of backgrounds and expertise, particularly in emerging fields. And I think that will enrich the perspectives available to our mentees and better support their professional growth. As for what participants should be aware of, I had kind of said it earlier on, but just the focus on competencies, which we had implemented in response to the shift to the competency-based assessment framework. And so this approach now having those options as part of our program, I think provides mentees with targeted guidance relevant to their individual paths toward licensure. And I would look to continue to evaluate that and improve where needed. Ultimately, we are committed to continuous improvement and ensuring the program remains a vital source as we grow and evolve, and helping students and EITs navigate their professional journeys. So that's really important to us as the New Brunswick regulator.
We do have a question as well in our chat. They said, I am an APEGA's provisional licensee living and working in New Brunswick. Would I be eligible for the APEGNB Connection program, or would I have to look into the APEGA version?
I can start with that. So if you're living and working in New Brunswick, yes, you would be eligible to apply if you are a member in training here with us. So it would just depend on your membership levels. We are different, so we would not have that provisional licensee category here per se. We may have something similar, but I would encourage you just to reach out and you know, through our website and just ask that question, just so we can confirm that. But as long as you're an eligible and active engineer in training here in New Brunswick, you would be good to go for this program for us.
And then another question is, will these programs be helpful to those who are in the process of applying for their P.Eng or only those who are in the early stages of EIT? Mohamed, do you want to take this one?
Absolutely. So it's beneficial to both. Ultimately, it depends on your needs. So if you're getting ready to put in your application, you're confident, you feel that you have the skill set and the expertise to demonstrate these competencies within your application, then maybe there is very little that the program will add to you. Maybe you just want to connect and have a mentor go over your application if you need it. But if not, if you're not sure where to start, if you're struggling to turn all the experiences that you have into succinct components, demonstrate these competencies, then maybe the program will help you. Our program is designed into 4 tiers or 4 levels. So foundational, novice, intermediate, and advanced, to attend to the different levels people are in their career. So someone who has is an MIT, has extensive experience, is just ready to put in their application, they will come into the advanced component. And the focus there is primarily to have you just ready to put in your application and have it go through from the first round, and not necessarily having you to go and edit it, or the board of examiners requiring additional information from you.
All right, and then this next question brings on everyone, but it's, what advice would you give to students or recent grads who are considering participating in these programs? How can they make the most of the opportunities provided as well? I'll pass it on to Cam.
Okay, yeah, I can start. I think I would really strongly recommend that for anybody eligible, they take the leap to get involved. It can be really daunting. It might feel like a time commitment, but it really, really does have such a strong benefit for you and your professional journey, trying to get into those stages of member in training or later professional engineer. And I think you can make the most of these opportunities by coming in with lots of questions. So if you're really, really early on in your career and you have no idea how to go about getting licensed or getting experience, the mentors can help you with that. But similarly, if you're towards the end and you're working on applying, trying to figure out how to meet all of your competencies, they all went through the process. They know what it was like to go through similar processes, and they can give you advice on how to get those specific competencies, how to help you pursue the necessary experience to get those. And really, they're there to help. So I've made some really fantastic connections with the people that I've spoken with. And overall, it's been very, very valuable for me just to have that one-on-one experience with somebody who's so knowledgeable, all on everything engineering, on their jobs, on the process. So yeah, really strongly recommend that you take the leap, commit a little bit of time, and try it out.
For me, my advice to students and recent grads is to join the APEGA Work Readiness Program and to seize every opportunity that the program offers. By taking full advantage of the workshops and the training sessions within the program, you can actively engage with mentors and network with professionals or peers that are in similar situations as you. The more proactive you are in participating in the program, the more prepared you're going to feel when you step into the workforce. So don't be afraid to ask questions at any time, whether about licensure or workplace expectations or various career paths that you could embark on. The program is designed to provide you with those resources that will guide you through the early stages of your career. So making the most of the program is definitely crucial.
I can continue on with the conversation if you want, Christine. So yeah, just kind of to echo what's already been said, but you know, approach the experience with an open mind and a proactive attitude. Take that initiative to reach out and connect and make those relationships and build those relationships. The students have mentioned it, you know, it's not easy to bridge that gap necessarily between sort of your education and getting into the professional world. So that's ultimately what these programs are designed to do, to kind of help ease that transition a little bit. And I think regardless of whatever you choose, either with APEGNB or APEGA or through another provincial regulator, I would just say, you know, stay engaged, but provide feedback about your experience. Feedback really helps program organizers identify what works well and what can be enhanced. And it's really invaluable for helping us to refine the programs to better meet the needs of future participants.
I'll conclude and say, encourage students, members in training to practice. Just keep practicing. You'll never know what works for you and what doesn't unless you give it a try. And that's the best time to try as many things and leverage as many of the resources and programs that are available to you on campus and off campus, and make mistakes and get people to give you feedback and guidance. You'll always make mistakes throughout your career, but the cost of the mistakes now is way less and is way more acceptable. So don't be shy from it. The interesting piece is the more you practice, the more you try, the better you get at first knowing what you're really good at and what you're not good at, the areas that you need to focus on versus areas that are coming naturally to you. So you'll never know until you give it a try. And it's okay to try a program or try a service and find that this is not exactly what I need at this moment in time. Maybe you can check it out later, but engage. And as Lauren said, approach it with an open mind and curiosity. So practice.
And on the topic of just having our regulators talking, what is the duration of the work readiness program? Like, is it fixed? Is it adjusted based on someone's schedule or needs? So yeah, someone's just curious about the Connections program specifically as well.
So it's not fixed. Honestly, it's based on your time frame. As I mentioned, depending on where you are you in your first year or your last year? I remember in training, fresh out of university, or you still have a few times to go. All of this dictates how long you want to be into it. But ultimately, there is a set of requirements that you need to complete to acquire these competencies. So you can put as little or as much time into it as you see fit. But short answer is, you know, it's not a fixed time frame.
Awesome. And then if you're in the early stages of being an EIT, how do you identify which competencies may be beneficial in discussing with mentors prior to the meeting?
So for us, we also, when a participant signs up as a mentee in our program, we provide resources like sort of one-pagers, little posters, booklets, links, that sort of thing, to kind of provide suggestions on how to connect with the mentors. It's all built into that overall mentorship rocket, that platform that we use. And two, I just want to say with ours, it's so it's on a 12-month basis as well. So it resets every year, which just basically means every year I get to add more mentors to the program, increase participants, that sort of thing. And when you sign up for it as a mentee, you get essentially 3 one-hour virtual sessions with mentors of your choice. And it's extremely simple to search and find mentors that are part of our program. It's right there on the homepage. You can read their bios. You can see what dates they have available for sessions, and just go from there.
I can add a little bit to that as well. Usually, the mentors are really invested in supporting you as well. So a lot of them will ask you if you'd like to chat with them again. So that may not necessarily be through the portal anymore, but like based on their availability and your availability, you can still do check-ins. So I've had second check-ins with 2 of my mentors as well, just because they wanted to continue the discussions and continue talking about what we were covering. On the topic of which competencies to discuss, what I did while I was working was look through the competencies and see which ones I felt I was working on actively in my current role, and then could chat with them about that, but then also chat about the ones that I was like experiencing a bit of a gap with, the ones that I thought I wasn't really reaching in my current role. And so that was a way that I was able to do it, even though I wasn't like at a stage where I was like at the very end knowing exactly which ones I still had left. It was a bit broader than that, but they were still able to give some really good advice.
And then on the topic of participating in the program with your mentors, how do you juggle school and extracurriculars and everything with the program? I'll pass the mic on to Zaafir.
For me, it's about time blocking. Effective time blocking will ensure that you have enough time for the program. Give or take an hour or two a week should be fantastic. That works for me, works for my peers, it will work for you. So my advice is to time block appropriately and ensure you commit to the program on your schedule.
Yeah, on my side of things, it was a pretty busy summer with both work and extracurriculars, then now back in school. But we've been able to build them in generally to lunch hours, so time that you would usually have somewhat off. Like think like a chat over coffee, that kind of thing. So that's what I've been able to do with a lot of the mentors, where they're able during the workday to take the hour over lunch. And then I've also been able to do that, and we can kind of match up the times that way. Um, Generally, it's a pretty low time commitment. I think it feels like more than it actually is, but really an hour, a little bit of prep before, so maybe an hour and a half to make sure that you're well prepared for the meeting. But it hasn't really been very difficult to juggle with other things. It really has just been a matter of prioritizing it in my schedule and making sure that I get to those meetings because they are important.
So it seems like someone's already interested, but they asked, how can I enroll for the program and if there's any cost for registration? I'll pass it on to Lauren.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, so ours is it's mentorshiprocket.com/APEGNB 2024. It's also available through our website as well, so you can find it on there. So APEGNB, APEGNB.com. You'll be able to find it there as well. And yeah, there's no cost to it if you're an eligible student or member in training. Just with a little bit of information back and forth with myself, we can get you registered and off and running. So it's pretty simple to do.
For our program, there's a link on our website, so you can go under students and educators and find the link to the Work Readiness Program. You can sign up. It's so far it's free, and I'll explain what this means. But you just sign up, and it walks you through a registration form to identify what year you're in, and accordingly recommends where you start. Sometimes people can start at a higher level, but we'll go back and recommend to them depending on their year of study where and when to start. When I say it's free so far, it is free, but what we want to make sure is that our limited resources are geared towards all students that are engaged and active within the program. So as time progresses and more interest comes into the program, we might put a limited fee to it to just ensure commitment, so that when people sign and use these resources, it's going towards those that are really interested in the program.
This next question is also for the regulators. What would you say is the biggest benefit of participating in the programs offered by APEGA and APEGNB? I'll pass it on to Lauren.
Yeah, biggest benefit is just I think allowing for this this opportunity. It's, you know, I had mentioned it's still relatively new, so we are still working on how we're actually like promoting the program and getting it out there. But you know, as we've kind of heard from you know, from the feedback really that we've received, it's been almost invaluable to be able to have our mentees connect with professional engineers and geoscientists and have these conversations where you may not necessarily have a platform to be able to do so. So I guess we kind of offer that platform to allow you to have those conversations and connect with these professionals.
And then we also have questions asking about, are there strict registration windows for these programs?
Say for us, there isn't really any strict registration timelines. The earlier you join, the more you can benefit from the events that we put and the activities that are scheduled. But again, it's based on your timeline and availability, how much time you want to commit to it.
And on our end, so each mentor puts aside 7 one-hour sessions. So the commitment for mentors in the program is 7 hours to give of their time over the course of a 12-month period. So it's time-wise and time management for them. It's not too difficult to make that commitment. But I would say we normally kick it off in October, and just the way that our program is structured, the earlier that you get on the program, you'll be able to kind of select the mentors of your choice. It's kind of a first come, first serve kind of thing. So you want to make sure that you kind of get in early to be able to select the mentors that best fit your experience that you're looking for.
Awesome. And on that note, we do have the links for both programs in the chat. So if you'd like to look at it, it's there from 2:50 p.m. for Eastern time. Back to Mohamed, we wanted to know if or what the biggest benefit is for APEGA.
I'd say the biggest benefit for students and members in training is having, first and foremost, a stronger application, which is reflective of a stronger candidate when they apply to register with the regulatory body. So that's a starting point. But more importantly, all these competencies that you work to build and acquire and improve on will come in handy and will be extremely beneficial when you join the workforce. Again, as a student in university, you're acquiring a lot of knowledge, but it's completely different to take this knowledge and figure out how to put it into practice in the day-to-day on the job. As you graduate and all students are exploring, you're all kind of starting at almost an equal or a level playing field. So the more you invest in your future and the more you invest in preparing for these competencies, the better you are and a head start you'll have as you join the workforce, and accordingly the opportunities that you'll get.
So we also would like to know, I'll probably push this onto the students, so Cam and Zaafir. With the Connections program, how easy is it to find a mentor?
Okay, so for the Connections program, Lauren touched on this a little bit with how some of the mentors can book up a little bit, but they have a lot. So it's been pretty easy for me to find mentors to speak with them. It's really easy to book through the website, and then you kind of coordinate specific times directly with the mentor. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. They're all listed on the website. The dates that they're available are listed right on the website, and then you just have to coordinate times. As Lauren said, easier the earlier that you do it. But I also, when we piloted the program with students for the first time, I joined only in May. And so that was kind of for the last couple months of the program, and I was still able to find 3 really wonderful mentors to talk with. So if you do join late, not something to be crazy concerned about. You can still find some wonderful people to talk with. But it is a good idea to get a head start to make sure that you're kind of gearing towards some very specific goals with the mentors and getting the most out of the experience.
And then our final question for today is, do we have any step-by-step guide on how to be a part of APEGA? So this one can be going to Mohamed.
Not sure what it means to be part of APEGA. I assume it means like applying to register with APEGA. I'll take it, and then I'll respond again to the Work Readiness Program. So in order to register with APEGA or any regulatory body, you go through the application process, and to simplify it, it's It's two simple, or maybe three steps. First, a bit of information that they collect about you, degrees that you have, graduation, so you apply all of this, and then an academic assessment and a work experience assessment. These are the two components, and this is at a high level, consistent across the country. Now, the requirements, the specific requirements and how people evaluate might differ, but it boils down to assessing your academics and assessing your work experience. So everything is on the website, and if you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to us. For the Work Readiness Program, as I mentioned, it's free to register. There isn't any specific requirements. Based on where you are in your years of study would dictate which level you start at. So this is as simple as it is.
All right, so that is all the time we have today. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. I'd like to thank all the participants for coming out today and listening to what APEGNB is and what APEGA is and what our experiences are with the program. Please visit pathwaytoengineering.ca for more information if you're interested as well. And we have updates there updating all throughout. So it's a very important link that you can save. And yeah, so I hope everyone has a great rest of their Thursday. And hopefully we'll see you at more events.